Is there anyone from Knox County on the line? Or Putnam County? Or Henry County? All right, well, so far I see the rest of them there.
Yeah, and Nola's calling right back in since they didn't make a connection the first time. So we'll give her just a sec, and then we can get started.
Awesome. Lafayette County's back on.
Well, that sounds a little better on our end.
Lots better on our end. This is Nola, the administrator, and I have with me Cindy Schneider and Yoli Carrillo.
Okay. Well, Susan, since we're about 6 minutes after the hour, do you want to go ahead and start?
Yes, I will. I just wanted to take just a couple minutes to thank you guys for kind of taking the step and, you know, being proactive, I guess, in getting your strategic plans up to date and using this tool to do that. And so I do have MOUs returned, and hopefully you've gotten them all back by now. If you haven't, shoot me an email, let me know. But I think I've gotten, they usually CC me when they send them back to you, so I think I've gotten all that information. But I just kind of want to let you know the department's been using the My Strategic Plan tool for, I think, almost 2 years, maybe not quite. But and really what it's helped us to be able to do is, you know, we used to do a strategic plan once a year. We put it away on the shelf, and the next year we get it out, we look at it, and we say, okay, now how do we need to change it? Then we put it back on the shelf. And this tool has really helped us keep our plan interactive, you know, keeping an ongoing tracking system of what's going on in the department, letting us change goals, changing activities, and changing targets as we get data in and feel like those numbers need to be changed. The other thing that it's been really good for us is that it does, and Vanessa will go through this too, is it does give you access to immediate reports. I mean, you can print out a report of your progress for any of the stakeholders that you have and pretty much at any point in time. So that's real beneficial in reporting your progress to the people that care about it. What we did do, which you'll notice when you get your own login, is that we have pre-populated the, and hopefully you saw this information in the MOU as well, but we've pre-populated the system with 4 overarching public health goals. And underneath of those goals, you all have the opportunity to put in whatever kinds of objectives and activities you have going on, as well as adding to that and, you know, increasing those things that you have going on. So the reason we did that is really to kind of align everybody together, be able to kind of have common overarching public health type activities showing up on this strategic plan. We all do, you know, the essential public health functions, but being able to show that and see that across the board, it will be helpful for us. One thing, I mentioned the reports that you can get out of it. It is important that you keep track of that information. So, you know, the reports will only come out as good as what you put in. So, you know, make sure you're measuring things that are measurable, that you have a way to track your progress, and that you are doing that in the system. I will send out the passwords this afternoon. I kind of wanted to wait till you got this introductory thing, webinar today, but I will send out the passwords to you all this afternoon and some information on a second execution webinar that we'll be holding, well, I don't have the date right here in front of me, but in a few weeks,
Yeah, two weeks from today.
Okay, and Vanessa can kind of explain to you what's included in that particular training, but it'll just be an extension of what today is and what you will be doing once you get into the system. So don't forget to sign up for that. And then also, if you haven't already, make sure you start looking internally and picking the team members that you want from your agency or any stakeholders that you want to put on your strategy team. So start thinking about those kinds of things, because in a week or so I'll be asking you to send me the members' names that you put on that strategy team. You guys are the second group of LPHAs that have been brought into the system, so we do have a first group that has gotten their passwords, are in various progress, I guess, to putting their information in the system. So, and we do have a third group who will be coming on after you guys. So anything once you get in the system and have some questions, some positive comments, anything like that would be helpful for me to know, just so we can, you know, give that feedback to the third group, as well as we do have probably about another 19 or 20 licenses. So we will be doing another push to the agencies who have not chosen to participate. And, you know, feedback that we can get from you guys related to how it's going, the positives and things, might help sway some of them to go ahead and choose to participate. So I think that's about, does anybody have any questions for me? I'll try to stay on the call the whole time, although I do have a meeting here in a little bit, so if it lasts over any, I will have to log off. So any questions for me? All righty, I will turn it over to Vanessa, and she'll kind of walk you through and do some explanations.
All right, thank you, Susan. I see somebody else logged in here while Susan was talking. Who else has joined us today?
St. Louis County.
Okay, nice to see you in St. Louis. So we're going to go ahead and get started, because I know your guys' time is valuable as well as mine. So let's go ahead and go into the software. I'm going to start off with looking at what your plans look like right now in the software themselves, and how yours will look when you're starting. And then we'll also look at one that has more information in it, that's a generic one, but will show you how your plan's going to look once you start getting everything into it. So I want to start with what you're going to see when you first log in. And Dennis, you happen to be my guinea pig for the day. We're going to start off with your plan just as our one for looking at. Everybody's will look the same here. We do have it customized. You guys, for the state of Missouri, for the health departments, we have you all under the same branding for the campaign that the state is running of Move the Needle. So you'll see that on your plans when you log in. And the other great thing that you'll see when you log in is this page here. This is our new interactive homepage that we started a few months ago. And what this does is it helps walk you through the steps of getting your plan into the system. These 3 tiles will disappear as you take care of certain parts of your system and you move beyond those things. And as you move past them, new tiles will pop up of the next steps that you need to take care of. And then once you have all of your plan in the system and you started executing against it, I'll show you what that screen looks like when we go to a plan that's fully developed in the system. But that one shows you a scorecard of how your plan is doing. But this page just is really helpful for walking you through those stages and getting your plan into the system, making sure you're getting to all the different parts and that you've hit all the important things as you're going along. One of the other things that's really helpful is our upcoming training section. These are public trainings we do for all of our clients. We have them recorded that you can listen to anytime, or you can sign up to take them online live with us. We've got our next one is on setting objectives and cascading your goals. Any of your team members are welcome to take it. If they're new to strategic planning or want some refresher on it or anything else. We also have a Strategic Plan 101, which is similar to this one, but it's a more generic one for just the general public. And then we also have one on execution. We're also going to do this specific towards the LPHAs. As I was mentioning to Susan, we'll be doing this one in about 2 weeks for your group as well. So, but you can check out these others at any time. So going into the plan, what you've got here is we've divided it into the different areas. Starting off with determining your current position. If you've got a SWOT, putting in your SWOT, your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities and threats. If you haven't developed a SWOT yet, or you want to go look at it again and see if you need to add anything to it, we do have a section on internal and external analysis that has some worksheets and some suggestions on ways to gather this information to be able to put together and put into your SWOT. One of the other things that's helpful in determining your current position is your customer groups. And I know for a nonprofit or a government group, a lot of times you're going, well, we don't really have customers. Well, you can call it customers, or you can call it your stakeholders. As Susan was mentioning earlier, you can call them your constituents or the community. But what are the different groups that you service through your LPHA? What are the main groups that you service, or what are some new ones that you really want to target? Here's a place to be able to put those groups in here. You can put in their name and then a description about them and their characteristics. And what are the needs that they need from you as a health department? And this helps you as you're creating your goals and you're looking at your plan during the year to be able to say, oh yeah, are we actually meeting the needs of that group? You know, are we meeting the needs of our senior community that we have in here? We say that they need this, this, and this from us. Are we actually, you know, meeting that need? So it's a good place to keep that information organized and in one spot. So helpful part in determining your position. And then developing your strategy is the next step along the way. And here is where you're going to get into your mission statement, putting together a good mission. If you're wondering, you know, want some extra help with putting together your mission, we've got questions to answer. You know, what are you trying to accomplish in your organization? What's your purpose? We also have these tabs over on the right. You'll see throughout the system it says more information. And what those are is a section that gives you a short 2 to 4 minute video on whatever the section is. So this one would give you on developing your mission statement. We also have things in there for helping you determine what are some examples. So it'll have specific nonprofit examples in there of what some mission statements are. It will also have some additional information and help for questions to think about. And same thing for your vision statement. One of the things we really do suggest when you're doing your vision statement is having that basic vision statement, that short, concise statement, and then a description. And that description is helpful because it makes it a little more vivid and actually gives people something they can actually see and touch and feel. And so it's something that gives more of, you know, your vision statement will say, be very short and concise, but what does that really look like? So if we're going to be, you know, the driver of health change for, say, Jefferson County, what does that really look like in 5 years? So that could be that, you know, we're the organization of choice that people come to first for information about their health care and health-related issues. It could be that, you know, you made the newspaper for the most innovative government agency in the state for the year. All sorts of different things, but describe it. What does that really look like? So your team can help you with that. Your value statement is an important one to think about as well, and that you can put here into the system. And what's great about all of these sections that I'm showing you is that these show up in the report. Some of them show up in all of the reports, some only show up in certain ones, and so what it does is it helps keep all of your information in one place. And so even if it's something that you don't use a lot during the year, it's there when you need it, and also when you're ready to start developing your plan for the next year, you have all the information in one spot, and you're able to go back and look at it and refresh it easily and have it all there. So it's very helpful to have all this information collected in one spot and not, as Susan was saying, in a binder up on a shelf. As we tell our clients quite a bit, it's not the best way to keep your strategic plan. Competitive advantages. That's really a section we have government agencies and others go, well, we don't have a competitive advantage. Well, you can call it competitive advantage, comparative analysis, but it's what makes you unique? What makes you the place to go to? What makes you special? Whether it's you've got, your staff has the amount of years of tenure and expertise, or maybe it's that you have strong connections with all of the local hospitals, or you guys have been able to get the rate of smoking down by 20%. Whatever makes you unique, what makes you special. And even as a government agency, that's something that you need to think about. What makes you unique? And use that to your advantage. So once you've got all these things put together, then you're going to get into, okay, we've got all these things, we know what they are, we're going to have our goals and objectives, we're going to put those together. And you're going to take all that information that you've put together, and you might already have some goals and objectives. You might already have this information, you're just inputting it into the system. But it helps you as you're inputting it to think about it again. And here you can see we've got the 4 areas of the balanced scorecard that have been rearranged for a government nonprofit. So your first tab of your story is your customer or your stakeholder group. Then you've got your internal processes here. Then you've got your people, which is your internal people. This is your staff and your volunteers if you have them. This is who's at this level. And then you have your financial. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with the balanced scorecard, but we have based that best practice on how we've built our system. And what it does is it just tells you a story of, if we start at financial, this is our foundation. So our foundation is making sure that we have the resources to ensure maximum returns for our health department and for the state. So that's our base. And if we have those resources, then we're able to make sure that we can engage and invest in our staff. And we're able to engage and invest in our staff so that they have the skills that they need and that they have the training to do things. They'll be able to go then and maximize the health and safety outcomes by taking those processes and moving and pushing those forward. And as they do that, they will be able to make sure that we keep Missourians healthy, safe, and informed. So that's the basic idea of how the balanced scorecard works. We go through those 4 areas. And so that's why we have those tabs up here and how we have that organized. And then we've got the 4 overarching goals that the state has set up as a guideline for everybody to have a baseline to be able to talk the same things, that this is what we're working towards. You might have an additional one in here or something, but then you can just build off of these very easily by going in, and when you scroll over them, you'll get add, edit, delete. You can add an item very easily. Just click on add, and you'll see it'll tell you what are you writing a goal to support or an objective, who's it going to be assigned to, with priority level. Is it something that's just normal, or is it something that's a high priority item? If you choose it as a high priority item, in the reports it will show up red all the time to remind you that it's high priority and that you're tracking it that way. Your measures and your target, and also your start and end date. The system really gives you a lot more benefit and a lot more information for your reports and to your stakeholders if you've got start and end dates here and come up with good measures and targets. Part of what Susan will be sending with you with your passwords and things today will be a packet that we've put together that has information about using the software, and also something that Elsa's put together. You've heard her a little bit on the phone in the background today. She put together quite a helpful thing on measures and targets, how to write really effective ones, especially for health departments and medical organizations. So you're really something to go and look at to make sure that you're coming up with good measures and targets. Like we were mentioning earlier, we've got great reporting functions in the system, but if you're not inputting information and inputting the right information of how you're doing on your progress and having those good measures and targets to show how you're doing, it's not going to provide much information for people. So make sure that you take the time to go ahead and look at that when that packet arrives. And then you've also got this short hint section over here when you're working in it and you're going, now wait a second, what is it again? Why am I worried about the priority level? Or, how does the function section work? And those are for when, when you're tracking your key performance indicators. Those are the metrics that you're tracking. So let's just go ahead and cancel out of this one. So we don't want to put things in here for Dennis's group that aren't theirs. One of the important things as you're putting in your goals and objectives is knowing that we have this little cheat sheet over here to remind you of what the levels are in the system, who can actually add things and who can edit things at different levels. So it shows you that things that are at the first level, like the ensure Missourians are healthy, safe, and informed. Let's see if I can talk this morning. Those are at the first level. Those can only be edited by the overall administrator or added to. The next level down that we were looking at, the 1.1, those are goals that are organization or department, your LPHA wide. So those are something that also can only be put in by the administrator. And then if you've got departments and programs in there, those are the next level of goals at the 111 level. And those are ones that then those departments or programs can go in and edit them, they can input them, and they can track their progress on them and be assigned to them. And then if you do get down to drilling it down farther, you can get down to team member goals and team member actions. But this is just helpful if somebody gets in and they're going, well, why can't I change, number 1 here? I want to edit this one. Well, if you're in as a department, if you're the manager for that department or that program, then you're not going to be able to edit the overarching goals because those are something only the administrator can change. So it's just a good reminder if people are trying to remember, why can't I get that one? If you get your goals into the system and realize, well, we got something out of place, we need to put it, we would need to rearrange it, you can reorder your goals and objectives here by going to this page. And then you can also choose your key performance indicators, which are those metrics that you're tracking of how are we really doing on our progress. These are the key things that we need to say. If we reach these things, then we know we've really been a success. So these are the metrics of, how much did we, we reduced the number of smokers in Jefferson County from 15% down to 10%. So you're tracking how are you doing on a month-over-month basis on doing that, or how are you doing at reducing teen pregnancies. in the county, or something like that. So those are what you're tracking there, and I'm going to show you these on a page in a plan where we've actually got some. So we'll go back and look at those. The other sections here are also things we'll need to go look at a plan that's got some more information in it. But before we go there, I just want to show you the rest of what your plan looks like. You do have help and support. If you ever need any help from us, we have live chat available during the day, Monday through Friday. We are West Coast time, though, so if you try and chat with us at 8 o'clock your time in the morning, you're going to get a little box that pops up and says you can put in an email to us, because I'm not quite up that early in the morning to take care of chat. But the rest of the day, we're here and we can help you there. And as I said, that pop-up box pops up if we're not in the office yet for the day, and it will send us a message that we'll answer as soon as we get in. You can also call us. We're happy to answer questions, and we also have email. So however you send us questions, we're happy to help you there. But there's also a large help and support section in here. It's got FAQs, it's got our resources center, and it also has our virtual strategy guide. If you've got anybody in your team who is not familiar with strategic planning, or you're getting ready for the next year and want to have everything laid out step by step, this is a great resource for helping you through each stage of the strategic planning and strategic management process. It goes through and has worksheets in it. It has timelines for you. It gives you questions that you're trying to answer, what type of information you need to do that stage of the process, what are you going to come out of this phase with, what are the outcomes and deliverables you're going to have, who's involved in the different parts of the process at this phase, and then gets into digging into deeper of what you're actually doing, and has those videos to help you as well. So a great thing to have your team go and look at if you need that additional resource along the way, or you want it for when you're ready to get your next year's planning together. So something just to remember there. So let's go ahead and go to the account section here for just a sec. Here is where you're going to be able to activate your users, and each health department is slightly different. We do have it in right now as divisions as the next level down. In the health department, you might have them listed as programs, or they might be departments as well, the departments within the department. So you can change these. But here it's easy to just go in and activate a department. You'll just put in the information, put in their email address and password, and it makes it very simple so that they're in there and in the software. We do have everybody set up with 4 department users. You can add additional users if you need them. Contact us about that, and we can help you with that. But this is what we have you started off with, at least. This is what the state has put together with this program to get you started. The other is those customized terms I was talking about, and here you can see this is where you come up with the terminology of what you're using for your LPHA. So what are you calling it? Here are the 4 areas of your balanced scorecard: the customer, internal, people, and financial. And then we base these off of what the state's using. They're calling the top level goal, and then objective and strategy at the next level, and then at the final levels are the action items. And you can adjust these to fit. What these do is these show up in all of your reports and all your pages to keep everybody using the same terminology so that you have that clarity there. You can upload the logo for your health department right here. Make sure you do pay attention to the size and the pixel size and the actual size of the image so that it fits the reports properly. And then we do have some other things here, communication and add-on. we'll get to those a little bit more. Communication is something we talk about in execution, how you're going to communicate with your users to access the system. And then add-ons, we're going to talk about that when we go to the other plan here. So before I switch plans, while we're still looking at one that's for one of the health departments, any questions or anything? I want to make sure I don't miss anything. This is an interactive and question-answer time, so. Anybody at all? Make sure I didn't lose everybody.
I think we're good at this point.
Okay. Just want to make sure I hadn't lost everybody. So let's go ahead and switch plans then. Let's go to one that's, this is a non-health department plan. So this is what it's going to look like once Susan gives you your username and password. What you're going to do is come to our main website, MyStrategicPlan.com, and you're going to go ahead and log in, and it's your email address. If I can type it this morning, and then your password. Your password is something that does have to be 6 characters long with at least 1 capital, 1 lowercase, and 1 digit, 1 numeral in it. And you'll get those from Susan when she sends those out. So we're going to go ahead and log into this plan. And so here's what I wanted to show you for this one thing. When you come to the home page, those tiles are now gone, and instead we have this new screen here. And this screen is great. We have had a lot of feedback on it. And what it is when you first log in, you get a quick look at how the plan is doing. Just a very quick look without having to drill down into anything. You look
Vanessa?
at this. Yep.
I mean, all we're seeing is a green plaid screen.
Me too.
Oh, it didn't pull it up. There we go.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we'll start. So this is the home screen when you've logged in now. So if we look at the home screen here, you can see that when we don't have those tiles, what we have is what we call our progress scorecard. And what this is it shows you how we're doing just on progress on our goals, whether it's at the organization, which would be the LPHA level, or the different departments or divisions that we've got underneath. So here we can see how many are complete so far, how many are on target, how many are not on target, they're in either past due, ones that haven't been started yet, they're no status, so they have the start date hasn't arrived yet, and how many KPIs we're tracking for that level. So here we can see, we log in and we go, well, wait a second, we got a problem here. Last time I logged in, Web Specialist didn't have any items past due, and that was just a few days ago. Now they've got 2 items past due. And so you can either go to the reports and find out what items went past due recently, or you can just call up the manager and say, okay, what happened? What's the issue here? What can we do to get this resolved? Or you log in and you see, oh, wait a second, customer service only had 1 completed goal as of a week ago. We log in now, they've got 4. So you can call up the manager and say, hey, congratulations, glad to see you've gotten 4 of your goals completed so far for the year already. Great work, and any suggestions to pass on to anybody else for some ways to help with their goals. So it's a great motivation tool. When people log in themselves, they can say, oh, I want to be, customer service has 4 goals completed already, and, Web Specialist logs in and sees they've only got 1. They're like, well, I want to be doing better than that. I want to, be competing with how customer service is doing. What can my team and I do to get ourselves moving forward? So it's a good way to just see how things are doing, but also gives that idea of competitiveness of going, hey, I want to do as well as the other managers, if not better. So just a quick way to think about that. So now that we have those things in the system, let's go and look at what those goals and objectives look like. So if we go to our goals and objectives, you can see here we've got those 4 areas of the balanced scorecard. We have financial at the beginning on this one because this is a for-profit one we built this for. And you can see that you've got then goals. If you click on the plus sign, they cascade down. And you can see how they go. If we go over to customer, you can see one that really cascades. Let's grab one here. Let's go to our new customers. And you can see here how this cascades all the way through. And you've got your goal or your strategic objective here at the top. We're going to increase our customer base. Then you've got the organization or the LPHA goal level, which would be reaching a 15% annual increase of new customers. That's what they've got here. And then the next step down is, well, to do that, we're going to have to implement a marketing campaign to draw into those new markets. Well, to get that marketing campaign off the ground, first we need to research the opportunities for those new markets. And even before we do that, we need to do a competitive analysis to determine what markets we need to move into. So what this does is it shows you what are the steps we need to do to eventually reach this high-level strategic objective or goal here at the top. What are the individual steps along the way that feed into each other? So you can see the simple cascading here and how that works. And just makes it an easy way. You don't end up with goals that are lost out somewhere that aren't actually helping you achieve your strategic plan. Because you can't have a goal out here that doesn't eventually get you back up to one of these high-level goals or objectives here at the top. So the goal cascading really helps there. That reorder objectives and goals that I was talking about, this is where if you've put in some of your goals and you realize, well, you know, I'm looking here at 1.1 to generate sales. And we've got software licenses, maintenance contracts, and professional consulting. Well, say we've determined that professional consulting is actually something that we are more interested in working in. And as you can see here at the end, it actually was supposed to be finished by the 1st of this year. So we're actually going to say that should have been happening before software licenses and was more important. So we're just going to change its position here. And so we're going to drag and drop it up here and make that the top thing under generate sales. So we can just rearrange those things after we've put them into the system. Now there are a few key rules. You can't promote or demote something. So I couldn't take this professional consulting and make it the new 1.3 here because it's already at the 3rd level. So I can't move it up to the 2nd level or move it down to the 4th level. You can delete the goal and re-enter it, but to just move it around, it has to stay at the same level. The one other key thing is that you can't move something that's under one tab, like say something that's under finance. So we've got revenue growth is under financial, and move that under the customer section. And it will tell you here that that can't go there because you'll see you don't see the colors there. So that one can't move there because it's that high-level item is a static item. It has to stay there. But everything that's below it can be moved. One of the nice things about moving an item versus deleting it and re-entering it, if it's staying at the same level and you use the reorder items, all of the progress and notes that you've entered with it are going to move with it. And so you're not going to lose any of those comments that you've entered in when you've updated progress. You're not going to lose the status that's on it or any of the measures and targets that you've put in there. So it makes it really helpful to keep all that information together, because otherwise if you delete it and re-enter it, you've got a lot of different places you've got to go and update information so that you don't lose it all. So very helpful in just keeping things in the order that you want. Now your key performance indicators or key these are your performance improvement metrics as well. These are what you're tracking to say, you know, what are the things that are going to truly say that we were successful? And you're going to find these at the second level of your goals and objectives. And so when we're logged in as the administrator, you're going to see all of the organization goals here. You're going to see all the 1-1, 1-2s, 2-1s. What you're going to do is you're going to choose which are the ones that need to be tracked as specific metrics that we're tracking to say, these are what we need to accomplish. These are what we're going to say, our health department was truly successful this year. And you don't want to necessarily have a lot of them, but what are the important ones? And you'll be able to tell what was the measure and target, so what are we tracking on those? Because you are tracking a real number on those. You're not just tracking percent complete. You're tracking, you know, how are we doing? This one's, you know, number of dollars in sales. Maybe you're doing it on the amount of grants that you've received for the year. Or you could have one about new programs developed, new education programs developed and implemented for the year, or the number of children immunized and got all of their immunization shots by the age of 2. You know, what were you trying to reach for the county? Those are the type of things that you'd be tracking here. You just put a check mark next to the ones you're actually going to track, and then just click down here at the bottom, click Save. And I'll show you how you're going to update those and how you're going to track those. So if we go ahead, we've entered our goals, we're ready to go, it's time to go ahead and track our performance and see how we're doing. So we're going to come in and track my performance. I'm just going to show this a little bit today. We look at this more in execution, but I want to show you how you're going to be able to use this and why it's important to make sure you have those key things we were talking about, like your measures and targets and your start and end dates. On this page, you can see here are all of the goals in the plan. You can see if they're being tracked just as a performance measure. Are we trying to be at, you know, red, yellow, or green on this one? We're going as a percent complete. Or are we tracking one of those specific metrics? Is this a performance improvement metric that we're tracking? If it's just on our performance status, you can see we've got our stoplights over here. We've got red if it's past due. We've got check mark if it's complete. Green. We've also got yellow if something's not on track, and then we've also got yellow if something's not on status. So that's something that has either been deferred or the start and end date hasn't arrived yet. So you can see those here. And you can see they're very easy to update. If it's a performance one, if you just click on the stoplight, you can go in and update where the progress is. It's achieved, in progress, not on target, the percentage complete for year to date so far, and then the comments. And the comments are something that we really encourage that you use as much as possible. These are a way to be able to, when you go to your meetings and you're looking at the reports, this will show up on your progress reports, and it will say, okay, you know, we're at 20% for this goal this month, and we thought we were going to be at 30. What are the reasons why we're off? And so here in the comments is where you put information like that, you know, why we're ahead or why we're behind or what's coming up for the next month that are the key things that we're working on. So here you want to put in the current date when you're putting in the comments. What's the date? A short 1 or 2 sentence line of what the comment is, and then your initials. And then this is helpful because it just shows up in those reports, and you don't have to remember. Say you've put in your status every month, and this comes up at a quarterly meeting, and it's something that was from 2 months ago, and somebody goes, well, what was going on 2 months ago that had us where we're at with this goal? Well, when you've got those comments in there, you can see, and you can say, oh yeah, here's what was going on, and here's what's been moving us forward, or here's what's been holding us back. and having those in there just helps make it easier to keep that on track. If you're updating one of those metrics, as I was saying, those performance improvement metrics, here is where you update those, and you can see you're actually tracking those on a month-to-month with an actual number in there. So here's how much in revenue, could be, how much in grant money you've been bringing in each month. And we'll look at this farther in the execution one, but this is why it's important to think about what are those things that we need to track as an actual performance improvement metric. What are those things we need to be tracking? And what are the measures and targets we need to set for those goals so that we are measuring the right thing? So those are something you want to think about as you're putting your goals in the system, and use that worksheet that we put together that you'll be getting, because what else I put in there will really help you in making sure you have the right information in here, because then when we get to the execution section, this will really work better for you. So definitely want to take advantage of that. I would show you the Gantt chart, but it's just going to get released with a brand new version here in the next week. So when we do our execution webinar, then I will show it to you then, because you'll get a lot more out of it then. It's a great thing for being able to see on a timeline view how your goals and your objectives are all spaced out, to see if you might need to adjust how things are when things are being started and ended, so that you don't have too much on any one person's plate or any specific department's plate. So once you started putting in your progress to those goals is when you're going to need to have reports. You're going to need to be able to tell your reporting agency, whether it's a county commission or a board, how are you doing? So here's where you can come in when you come to view reports. You have two sets of reports. You have the reports that just show how your plan is, what your plan is, and then you also have your progress of your plan. So you have two different sets here. You have just the report and how your progress is. And the reports come out as a quick PDF. It's pre-done into a PDF for you. Microsoft reports, HTML if you just want to view it quickly on the screen and you're not looking for something to print or save, or an email. This one allows you to send it as an embedded email, and it goes to the email of the user that's logged in at the moment. So whatever email address was used for that user to log in is where this email will go. So all these reports can come that way, and we've got a variety of them. We've got linear cascade view, which is great for those who like to see things more of a spreadsheet view. So if you've got people who are interested in that. The other thing this report is really helpful for is if you've got your plan into the system and you want to see if you're missing anything, if there are any holes that you missed, this report is great for using for that, because they'll quickly show you if you've got holes. Like right here, there's no measure and target for this goal. It ended up being blank. Or you can see, oh, do we need to actually have some supporting items for this goal over here, because it only goes to this first level. So you can quickly see in here if there are some things missing, if there's some more supporting items that might need to be in there. So a good report for using for that as you're developing your plan, and also good for those who just like to see things more of a linear view. And you've got other reports in here as well. You've got the full plan, an executive summary. One that's really good for communication within your department and in your LPHA is what we call the one-page plan. This puts all of your plan into a format where you've got a big poster size and very colorful, just high overview of your strategic plan. And you can put this up somewhere where you've got a break room or a common area, or put it on a wall where your stakeholders can see it, that this is what we're working on. and it gives you the ability to keep it top of mind. Instead of having that strategic plan in a notebook and up on a shelf somewhere that you're not thinking about it, this puts it somewhere where everybody's seeing it during the day. It's helping keep it top of mind without making it something where you're having to hammer it into everybody's head all the time. Instead, you're able to just remind them, you know, this is what we're working on. And we have a lot of organizations that use it. As things happen during the year, they'll stick up sticky notes on it of, hey, we accomplished this, or wow, look where we're at so far. And it's a good way just to keep that communication flowing and also make it something where people are like tracking that progress and seeing the successes that they're going through. And then you've got progress reports down here as well. So we'll look at those when we're in the execution one a little bit more, but those show how you're doing with your progress. And then one of the things you also have with your plan is the dash, which is, we're just going to look at it here really quick because we are coming up on the top of our hour. But what this is an online version of your plan that's a visual version. So instead of looking at a report, here's something that you can put up on a projector and put up on the wall. And people can go and click through and see how the plan is doing. And you can actually, if it's being tracked as a key performance indicator, you can actually click on here and see how it's doing month over month and also year to date. You can also, if it's being tracked just as a performance measure, you can see how it's doing. You can see this one's been achieved. You can see the start and end date. You can see all of those comments here of what's been going on along the way. So those are great and helpful things. You can go and look at just the performance at the high level, or you can also filter it and look at a specific group within the LPHA and see how you're doing. So this is something we'll look at a little bit more in the execution section. One of the other nice things about this is something that you can put on an internal website or an external one. You can make this public facing so that people can see how you're doing as a health department. And so it makes it so that instead of having to print reports for your stakeholders as often, they can see how you're doing from this as well. Now the one thing is that if you're not updating your progress, they're not going to get accurate information. It's going to look like you're not doing as well as you should be. So something that helps keep you on track as well. So it's just about the top of the hour. Some of these things are, as I said, some of the execution sections we'll talk a little bit more when we get to execution. But I wanted to at least show them to you and give you an idea of where they were at. So any questions or anything on what we've gone through for today? Do you have enough to get started and start putting things in from what you've got in your office into the software now once Susan gives you your username and password?
Vanessa, do we have another session scheduled with you?
We do. We have an execution training that will be in 2 weeks, and then one of the other things that we have is we'll do one-on-one training for each of you with me. So once you've gotten your plan, started putting your plan into the system a bit, and have started getting in there, we'll actually do a one-on-one to help make sure how things are going, make sure you're headed in the right direction, and look at any specific questions. So we'll have both of those. So once you get things going and get things organized, you'll have the contact information in that email Susan will send you. So you can contact me and set up a time for your one-on-one. And then we'll also do the execution 2 weeks from today. So 2 more sessions.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Any comments or anything?
This is all web. Everything we're going to do is web-based. This is Jody from Clay County.
Correct. It is all web-based. You can save the reports and save them on your computer, but everything is web-based. So you don't you can work on it from home. or from the office.
Great. Our IT was worried that it was supported by Google or required Google tools, so I assume it.
Yeah, it doesn't require any of those and doesn't require you downloading our software or anything on specific computers.
Okay. And there's no other technical requirements that we need to be aware of before?
You just need high-speed internet access. If you're using a PC, you want to be using the latest versions of Internet Explorer or Firefox for your browsers. And if you're using a Mac, you want to be using Safari browser. Are the ones that we're best optimized for running on. But as long as you have that and you've got a computer that is not probably 6 or 10 years old, as long as you have something newer than that, you should be fine. If it's a really old computer and you have some issues, give me a call and we can check and see if there's something that's slowing it down. But for the most part, you should be just fine.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions or anything?
Will we be able to see other, will we be able to see the state plan, and also I want to see what Dennis is doing? This is Dennis.
I know you can contact Susan about getting a report or something of what they've put into the system, and she might be able to walk you through what they have in their plan as well. And in terms of the other counties, we do encourage communication back and forth, because you'll come up with things that work best for you. Somebody will come up with a great way of doing something, and we really encourage that sharing. So you can share that information. We greatly encourage it. And I know that one of the ways that is an easy way to share how your plan is doing is the dash, having it somewhere where it's either behind an intranet site that's accessible by your government agencies, or if it's publicly posted. That's one way to easily do it, but you can also share reports or look at the sites together to see how things are going. So
what you're saying is if we want to discuss or go back and forth between agencies, we would save it in a PDF format and just send it to them. Is that correct?
That would be one of the easiest, yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions or anything for today?
Will you be sending out this archive link if we want to go back and review the recording to all of us?
I'll be sending a link for the recording to Susan that will go to you. It won't go out with today's email that she's sending you, but you will get it shortly, so you'll have that as well, yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, if there aren't any other questions, I'll let you all go and have a great day. I've got one of the one-on-ones with one of the health departments from Group 1 that's just finishing up, so I've got to get on and talk to them and get them going out in Hickory County. So, but if you ever have any questions, again, feel free to, if it's about the state and your goals for the state and things, you can contact Susan. If it's about the software or anything, you're welcome to give me a call directly, or Elsa as well. We're your two contacts here. We also have other people in the office who are glad to help you and can normally answer most of your questions as well. So. Well, I thank you all for attending today, and look forward to talking to you more on a one-on-one basis as we move on to the next step. So have a great day and a great weekend, and I will be talking to you again soon.
you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.